Okay, I will call the meeting of the Woodstock Water Pollution Control Authority on May 26th at 7:05 p.m. Just to get a few things out of the way, I would like to just explain that anytime that you feel that you can type in your questions in here. So if you want to type it in ahead of time, feel free, and then when the time comes up that you want to get a chance to ask it. But we'll just have one person talking at a time. And when you talk, at first say Water Pollution Control Authority, WPCA, Rick Canavan, or Peter, and just let us know which one is talking at that time, or Tim. And the audience, we have an audience for citizens when we'll let John talk. We're going to put John at the top of the schedule so he doesn't have to stay the whole meeting. And also, let's see, I guess that's all. Just make sure that you're, everyone can hear me all right. Correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. And so with that out of the way, let's see. I'll call the meeting's been called to order. Has everyone read the minutes of our last meeting?
Yes.
I have, but
No, I didn't get them.
We didn't, I wasn't at the meeting, so, and if Rick didn't get them, we can put this off and we'll
I got 'em.
We'll cover this at our next meeting and hopefully it'll be in person.
All right.
Would someone want to make a motion that we delay the approval of May meeting, or the April meeting until the June meeting?
So moved. Rick Canavan.
Someone want to second that?
second.
All in
Peter
favor?
Ellsworth.
Roger, Gale?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye. Peter
Aye.
Ellsworth. Aye.
Rick
okay.
Canavan,
Tim
aye.
Randall, aye.
That item is carried. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. This is where we'll listen to John so he doesn't have to stay the entire meeting. We did have you down the bottom of the list, but so you'd have to sit through the whole thing. We thought we could discourage you from coming, but you're still here, so.
Sorry.
Only kidding you, John. We had you just down a little bit further.
Okay.
You're on.
Thank you, Chairman Gale. Good to see you, Rick and Peter. So I'm here on behalf of my client. I'm John, for the record, John Guskowski, planner with CME Associates in Storrs, Connecticut. Here representing a client on a project that concerns the Inn at Woodstock Hill property, 94 Plain Hill Road. The owner of the Inn at Woodstock Hill is looking to sell, has been trying to sell the inn for a while now, and we have a potential buyer who, as part of the project that would involve the acquisition, is also looking to expand the development on that property out behind the Inn at Woodstock Hill to include some multifamily apartment buildings. And the fundamental question I have for WPCA is eligibility to expand the use of the current connection. I think there's an 8-inch line to the sewer lines that if could additional flow be added, what that procedure is, and should the buyer wish to subdivide a portion of the property to the rear of the inn from the inn itself and essentially create a new parcel to the rear, would that new parcel be eligible to be connected to the sewer line?
As long as I looked at our sewer map, and the sewer map, all of the inn's property is within the sewer district. And that's the only question I think you have. Are you in the sewer district? And if you start another, it would be a development. It sounds like what you would be working on. And so you could make a connection, but it would be a development type connection, and we have different rules and regulations when you join it, but you wouldn't have, you'd be eligible to join.
Okay, so any property that's subdivided off, because the current map, and I was trying to get a copy of the map from, actually
Okay,
from
yeah. I don't know, I'm
the other
gonna hold this up
Buchanan.
in front of my face,
Okay.
John.
Sure.
John, I'm gonna hold this up in front of my face. It's a map, and
There's,
this-
yeah,
let's see, this property right here, I don't know whether you can see that or not, with the
yeah, I
dotted
can see the
lines
dotted
all around
line.
it.
Yeah, raise it up a
That's-
little bit. Yep. Yeah,
That's the inn, and all that property is within the district. And you were talking about a sewer avoidance. Well, as long as you're in the district, that sewer avoidance act has nothing to do with you.
okay. So yeah, I was
And,
trying to get a
the-
copy of the,
Roger, I beg
Yes,
to differ with you. I beg to differ, Stuart Morse. I beg to
Who's
differ
this?
with you. Stuart
oh,
Morse.
Stu, hey, welcome aboard.
Yeah, I've been, my concern is that, once, you subdivide, first of all, the inn was included in the sewer district to permit it to operate as it's operating now. The sewer avoidance is not to allow somebody to do something which they could not do on a piece of property that would not support a conventional system.
But that isn't the only thing that enters into it, I don't think, Stu.
I beg your pardon, I don't understand.
I think that as long as you're within the sewer district, that you have the right to connect to the sewer. What,
Well, I think that before we start giving
well,
carte blanche,
yeah,
you
I
gotta look
don't-
at this. I think it is, that's like saying, well, would Woodstock Academy take down their buildings and put up a 400 unit condo?
well, I think that would be up to planning and zoning. I don't think that's our question to answer.
Well, is this is Tim. Is this something that we should probably ask the attorney about? Whether or not this
Well, we
fits
can
into
if
the
we get,
parameters?
well, of course we can, sure.
I think Stuart Morse here again.
Yep.
I think before we go any further with this, we definitely need to get a reading on this. The sewer district was expanded to include the inn, so that it could compete and viably expand its operation on that property that it could not otherwise do under a conventional discharge system. I think we're talking about a
Was that
different breed
specific?
of cat.
This is Roger speaking again. I would, is that written in the initial write-up of the sewer district?
Well, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
how that
Well,
was.
John,
And
we'll have to look at that. Stuart, my biggest concern is that we're pumping almost 100,000 gallons per week, per day down there. And I think that's what our agreement with Putnam is, to not be more than 100,000 gallons per day. And so, John, my biggest concern was just clearing that with Putnam, because I'm sure with that many units that you're anticipating, that we would be over that. Well, right now, we're running between the 500,000 to 700,000, depending on what weeks you're looking at. So that would be my biggest concern. But, you know, let us look into whether have you seen the write-up, John, or did you go that far, or you didn't get into the
No,
town hall?
I've been trying to, and no, there is nothing. I've checked the town hall's records for the inn at Woodstock Hill, and the only thing that concerns the inn and the WPCA is a map and a delineation of an easement for where the actual pipe is. But there is no legal document that I could find that states the purpose of connecting the inn, as Stu mentioned, nor was there any description of a flow limit or limit to expansion, which is
Okay,
why I wanted to come to this
yes.
board.
Well, we appreciate that. I really didn't know what questions you had, so that we'll have to investigate this, the question that Stu brought up, and then talk with Putnam on the gallons. Do you have any idea, just a ballpark figure, of what this your first section of the unit would be putting out?
I really don't. We've shown the developer a couple of different options.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it could vary from, 15 to 40,000 gallons, depending on what, and so there's really two questions. The first is sort of the legal question about hookup, and the second question is really about capacity.
Okay, all right. We'll have to check into that, I'm afraid, for you then. We can't answer that off the top of our heads. And
Is it reasonable to expect investigation and an answer for your next meeting?
pardon, I didn't hear that.
Would it be reasonable to expect the legal and contractual investigation by your next meeting?
We'll try to find out the answer to these questions that you brought up by the next meeting, right?
This is Rick. We probably should include the town attorney in all this too. So not to speak for him, but I'm not sure how long that will take.
Does the WPCA use the same attorney as Town Hall?
No.
No.
But we can if we want
We
to.
have, although we haven't talked to him in quite a while, and we'll have to reconnect to our initial attorney that we had. And just off the top of my head, Peter, do you remember the attorney?
Yeah,
Chuck Andrus.
Yeah, Anders, yeah.
Yeah, Andrus or something like that. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
still Chuck? I spoke with him yesterday about something unrelated.
You spoke to him yesterday?
Yeah, about something totally unrelated. He's the chair of
yeah.
planning and zoning in Brantford. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, he's still in business then, so we'll try to get you a rating by our next meeting.
You should also check with the town attorney for Woodstock as well.
I've given Rich Roberts a heads up about this.
Okay, good.
It seems to me that Stuart Morse, seems to me
Yes.
that the Rich Roberts and the other attorney might know more about this than we do. I feel really uncomfortable even addressing this in this Zoom meeting. where we just can't, don't see I haven't seen the plans. I can't see the plans. We've got a
Okay,
lot of background.
Cindy, Stu, it's in your
Roger.
package. There's a small diagram.
Which I did not receive.
Yeah, I didn't get mine either.
You-
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know, I think,
Well,
John,
well, excuse me, Stu, for interrupting, but yeah, we're not going to answer any questions right here tonight.
no, I wasn't proposing that we do, but John had asked a specific question, whether at our next meeting, whether we'd have some kind of resolution to the questions that he's proposed. And I
Well, that's
think
what the only thing
at
I
this
told him
point-
was that we would try to get the answers to his questions.
at this point in time, I think it's a maybe, but we have no idea that if he comes back at our June meeting
Well,
and sits down and said, well, what's going on with this? I don't want him to expect to get a decision on it at that point.
we'll find out and see if we can get answers to his questions, Stu, that's all. And we'll certainly notify him. He's just a phone call away when we get the answers to, if we get a results, or by the time our next meeting comes up, if we don't have them, we'll keep them up to date. We'll keep them posted. We don't have that many things on our docket that we can't keep them in the loop. That all right, Stu?
It's fine with me. I just didn't, John had asked a specific question, whether at our next meeting, whether he'd have some answers to that question.
Yeah.
And I think it's misleading for us to say, well, yeah, I think it's, you know, at this point in time, I'd be surprised if we did.
Well, the only thing I said to him was that we try to get him answers by the next meeting. So that seems to be is that all right with you, John? And we'll keep you in the
Yeah, I
loop.
mean, it's all I can ask. It's a couple of specific questions, and the developer, the buyer developer, you know, is sort of holding up what could be a
Yeah.
very major project for the town,
Right.
essentially on the speed of your research and ability to answer the questions.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll do the best we can, and we'll keep you in the loop, okay? And you've got our number, so if you have something, or if you don't hear from us, you wonder we fell off the edge of the earth or something.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members' comments?
Sounds like
Okay.
No.
Okay, we'll go on to the next item on our agenda, which is, let's see, at this point, I would like to add an item on here on, I'd like to add 5C. On the agenda, under old
5C.
business. Right. And Woodstock Inn quality billing. Could someone
Quality or
make that
quarterly?
motion? Pardon?
Quality.
Did you say
What
quarterly
building?
billing?
What?
Quarterly.
Oh, quarterly.
Quarterly bill.
Quarterly. It's my New England
Quality.
accent.
I heard the same thing.
I probably said that. Could someone make that?
I'd move that we add what, 5C?
Item 5C.
5C, to consider, to discuss Woodstock Inn quarterly billing.
Hey, that's a,
All right, this is
Can I
Tim.
get a
I'll second
second?
that. Yeah, this is Tim. I'll second that.
okay, thank you, Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Do it aye.
Okay, pass unanimously. Okay, now we'll go on to new business and pump station maintenance. While I was out of town, I think, Stu, you had something to do with getting the wet well pumped at the pumping station?
I think it was really Tim.
Okay, Tim, you want?
Yeah, we had Parent down there to pump it out. Yeah, Stu and I mentioned to him a while back about going down to check it out again, you know, just to see what was going on with it. And I kind of dropped the ball on that. We haven't been down there. But one thing though, when I was down there with Andrew from Parent, I said, you know, what kind of safety device down here would work for you? And what he suggested was there are 4 holes in the top of that cover into the concrete. I guess maybe they used it for a crane or something to move the thing in place. Anyway, if we had some metal loops made that dropped into those holes, you know, just 2 like parallel bars, essentially, like, you know, like you'd see in gymnastics, that would be fine for him. He wants the hole open. He's not going to fall in there. He just, you know, it would be something where he could see, he could move the hose around. It wouldn't encumber him. But if he lost his footing, he would still be able to grab a hold of something. So, you know, I suggest that we get Rawson up there maybe to, you know, to work that out.
Okay.
Because, you know, that's been something that's been on the agenda for a long time, you know, fixing that problem.
Right. What I had been looking at was just a 3-section graded laid-in mat that would sit on angle iron around the full 4 edges of it. And you could take
for
out.
him, he doesn't. Yeah, for him, he doesn't want that.
No. Yeah.
No. No, he wants it all open. He just wants the two rails.
Okay. Could
Just,
you
you know, and then
could
maybe
you
a piece
explore?
across to explain
Okay.
them?
Could you explore that? Whoops, excuse me, Tim.
Oh yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll get Rawson up there if you want. And no, it's just some tubing to just bend it at right angles, get it welded, and then have maybe stanchion plates or something down at the base there where you could just drop it in the holes. It wouldn't be there all the time. Or if you guys wanted, I mean, we could have it permanently attached. You know, if we had it designed out of, you know, steel and then zinc plated or something, you know, galvanized, hot dip galvanized, then it could stay out there in the weather and not be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
We just
or
don't
you could
want.
make it in aluminum.
Okay. If you could explore that and then if you can get it to us the next meeting, that would be great.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of work Ross is doing right now. I would imagine they're doing something. But all right, yeah, I'll go down there and talk to Emily and see what I can get done.
Yeah. Okay. So
Hey,
that would be. Would he have any cables connected to him?
Tim.
I don't think so, but I guess you could.
Yeah.
What's Stu?
Tim, I was thinking,
you know,
as you were discussing that, you know, the way around this might be just a tethered harness like steel workers use, you know, a single point, or you see see people in bucket trucks. They're wearing a harness, they clip into a D-ring. It allows them freedom of travel, but also gives them a retrieval point.
Right. Yeah. I just bought one of those to work on the house with. Not real comfortable to wear, but you know, you feel a lot better having the thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could talk to him about that. See what he thinks about that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's him that, you know, it's going to have to be, you know, wearing it, and you know, I don't know what the regulations are. He didn't seem too concerned about it though.
Yeah, it's a too big a drop to be working there by themselves. So,
Yeah.
okay, Tim, if you'd look into that, we appreciate it. I
Okay.
checked, I was in there, just after I got back and, checked the fuel level is down at like 5/8 unless someone's filled it up since then, when I first got 2 weeks ago. So that's that. Let's see. Anything more on the pumping, mainline pumping system? No. Go on
I don't
to,
think,
calibration. I guess you're still on, Tim. Calibration of the Putnam meter.
from the last time it was,
Yeah,
it was calibrated, or is there?
Didn't you have it, just, didn't
Yeah,
you
we had that done a
just have
while
it done?
back. Yeah, I worked with Glenn Cotarelli from the Ponset, and we had what's the guy's name down there
Mike,
from
Mike or,
no, the other
Lynch,
guy, Brian. No,
Brian
Brian
Lynch.
Lynch.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
yep,
Yeah, so how we worked it out was I was in the pumps or in the station watching the meter,
yep,
and Brian had the phone down by the manhole, and he was listening to Glenn give the readings, and
yep.
then he was relaying them to me, and it was actually right on the money. We didn't have to adjust anything.
Oh,
So, you know,
well, that's good to know. And, so if we want to, we could look at the date of when that was done, right? And then bounce that off. How
yeah, we
long
should have
it's
a bill
been
for it.
since-
Yeah, we should have a bill
Yeah.
for it somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
What,
there's still an issue with those. There's still an issue with those guys down there as far as the trust factor, but I think it worked out pretty well with having Brian there, you know, working with us to get the thing calibrated.
yeah, I think
So-
that's about the only thing that's going to make them happy, I think. If they're right there.
Yeah.
So, what I'll do is, for the next meeting, I'll get the two bills and see the length of time in between, the two calibrations, just to, so we can see how long it's gone, maybe check it again in another definite time period. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, can the rest of you hear me? The screen changed just a little bit.
Right. Now we're back.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can
We're
hear you.
back. We're back.
okay. Everybody still on?
Yep.
All right, good, okay. Let's see, review of user rates is the next one on there, and, I just left that, as C on the new business, but, we'll, talk about that under the financial update down in section, number 8. When we, look at the budget, look at the user rates and approve, hopefully approve a rate that we can, have Linda use for the next time. Is that all right?
Yep.
Yep.
So we'll
Yeah, that's
discuss, we'll discuss C under, down, underneath 8. We won't take any more time on that one. The inn at
Okay.
Woodstock Hill, we just talked, I think we talked that one, up under, citizens' comments. So unless someone else has anything else to talk about at the end. I did, take their, readings when I got back and, gave, Mr. Norman, what it's gonna cost for this last quarter. So, and I'll have to talk to Karen about what you people discussed at the last meeting about, the quarterly, sending out quarterly bills to, people. I don't quite understand that from the financials section. All right, on that one, anything going on the the annual grinder pump inspection report that what's his name that sends us?
Bruce Williams.
Yeah, right. I think I haven't checked since I've been back with the electrician there, but most of those were electrical problems. And there's a couple of them that I want them to get during the good weather here, like new box and at the pumping station. I mean, at the wet well at the apartments and stuff like that. So I'll give you a report on that at the next meeting. While we're on the subject, hey Stu, are you on getting your packages?
No, I
Stuart?
did not get the package for this meeting, so I'm kind of flying blind.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do we have your correct mail address?
Yes.
Is the mailman mad at you?
Well,
No.
Roger, it happens to me too.
Yeah.
You know, East Woodstock, I don't know what the deal is, but I didn't get my package either. So,
No.
This is
Yeah,
Cindy. Can I speak to that, please?
Sure,
Sure.
Cindy,
All-
go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So the packets, I'm in the office every Wednesday. Packets were put in the outgoing mail in the lobby on Wednesday before I left at the end of the day. So they would have been picked up Thursday morning by the mail carrier. So I have no idea why you're not receiving the packets. You should have had them in plenty of time before the meeting.
This is Peter Ellsworth.
I got mine out in,
Actually,
I
Cindy,
got my package this morning.
you sent it out on the 20th?
Last
which was
Wednesday.
last Wednesday.
yeah, it'd be last.
Yep, on the
week.
20th. So the mail
Yeah.
carrier would have picked
Yeah.
them up from the town hall on the 21st.
21st, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I think I heard Peter say he got his package.
This morning,
Um,
just this morning.
Just this morning, wow. I got
That-
mine last Saturday.
Mine came in
So
So
on
I'm going to, this is Cindy again. I'll ask Crystal what the process is and if the mail carrier is coming on a daily basis or are they staggering their pickup time? Because I'm not aware of that. If they're staggering their time, I was unaware.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
Yeah, if you could just check with at least Crystal and see where they're getting picked up. And
Yes, I will.
so everything from the town hall goes, I think, right down to the main post office. So,
I think it goes
and
to
then they
Hartford.
probably have to truck it to Hartford and bring it back again.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're flying blind, Stu. Okay, I'll be more explicit.
no, don't worry about it.
Hey, Stu, have you done any more on pumps, like getting anything rebuilt or anything?
No, we
Okay.
have not.
Okay. I talked to Glenn today, and Glenn is working all by himself now. Two young fellows are homebound, being quarantined. And he would like to do it, but he just doesn't have, at the moment, he doesn't have the time. And I asked, would he feel better if we maybe got like water and waste in there to lift those two out? And Stu, do you think they could, do overhaul of the pumps too?
I think they do. You're referring to the two pumps that are up at the Line master.
Line master.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess we'd probably get a quote from them. Just tell them what we want, and if they're gonna go in there and charge $3,500 to lift two $1,800 pumps out of the
Yeah.
wet well, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, those aren't the $1,800 ones. They're the $1,000 ones there, I think.
I think. Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the grinder pumps, and I think when you look and you buy a new grinder pump, you're really closer to 18 than you are to 1,000.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was just going by what was in the last the minutes there. I think there was something in there about the grinder pumps. So
Yeah, you're not going to buy a new one for $1,000.
No,
Yeah.
we were rebuilding them for $500-$600.
rebuilding was 4 to 5, and purchasing new pump was 8 to 9. That's under
Whoa.
new
Then
business
that's
on last month's agenda.
That's
Or
got to
the
be a
minutes.
misprint.
Yeah.
That's got to be a misprint.
This is Cindy speaking.
Yep.
That was a comment that Stuart had made as just a roundabout guesstimate of what they might be going for. So it
Oh, okay.
wasn't definitive. It was just his thought
Okay.
on what a roundabout figure would be.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Might have been okay. The grinder pumps that we've purchased in the past, the new ones, and we've got them from Water and Waste through Water and Waste. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they were up around $1,600 and $1,800.
Okay. Do you want to,
Yeah, I
Stu,
concur
would you
with
want
that.
to,
Yeah.
would
You
you?
want me to follow
Stu?
up on that and get a price?
Yeah, see if they get
Roger.
their equipment out. One, to see if they can get their equipment out here, and what would that cost to pull out 2 pumps? And then also the cost for overhauling, and then the cost of a new pump.
Okay, we'll have that for us next meeting.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, let's see, service calls. Cindy, have you had any calls from our public?
No, I have not. Everything has been quiet. The only,
All right.
there were a couple of phone calls that came in, but it was really for Linda's department, not ours.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. Those 2 calls, people on, I think it was Route 197 and 171 way out, where one had different questions about whether they were on the sewer system or not. So that's good. Thank you,
Yes,
Cindy.
and then, you're welcome,
Go
Roger.
ahead.
You did have one, you also had one item you wanted to bring up. You had spoken with someone. We spoke about it today.
Uh-oh, you're gonna have to refresh
Forgive me,
my
I'm
memory.
looking at my notes. Okay, hold on one moment.
Okay,
Um,
you got a bunch of
well,
old
let
guys
me
here.
find it. I'll find it and I'll get back to you, but you wanted to bring it up, so.
Okay, I thought I put everything down. Let's see. That's on the old business. Let's see. Yeah, really rating. Ooh. Oh, let's see. Oh, no, under old we'll go on to old business, Cindy, and if you happen to think of what I mentioned to you, chime in.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On old business, we were talking about grease traps for the Woodstock Fair. And I think that's where a lot of our grease comes from. And we have an idea of what we'd like to have the fairgrounds be more adamant and to their vendors that they have to control their grease. But they have nothing specific in any of their write-ups that mention grease other than what they're verbally told when they, I guess, pick up their permit. And they do have grease barrels there, but they have to cart them from their vendor spot to the grease buckets. So we'll look at, I'll talk to, is Mrs. Lord still chairman of the fair committee? Or
Patricia
at least
Kelly
in-
is the president.
Okay, I just saw, okay.
Sue.
Who is the lady in the office every day, or used to be?
Oh, that's Sue, oh. She's the
Yeah.
secretary.
Yeah, and then I think maybe the general manager was that Mrs. Lord?
Sue Lloyd, Sue Lloyd.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Sue Lloyd.
So I'll get with her and I'll talk with her before the next meeting about what we can do and see if they're willing to put something in there and bounce it off us. Okay?
Well, Stu, do you think that
Yes.
when you and I go out there to take a look in the wet well, you think we could get together with Patty and pull that manhole cover where their transducer is, and just take a
Yeah.
look in there for for a grease buildup?
Yeah,
Because it could be that the fair isn't as much of the problem as we think, and the fat is coming in. The stuff is coming in from further up.
yeah.
Well,
It is a
because-
possibility.
Yeah,
Tim,
because every one of those houses, except the
we can-
ones with wet wells, will go directly into that wet well at the pumping station there.
Jim, in
Yep.
question of pulling the manhole, we can certainly do that because we certainly have the right as the commission to go in and inspect the system. The other
Yeah,
thing
but I don't want to
is,
ruffle any feathers either.
well, no,
Talk to-
no,
Talk to
and you
Patty
just,
first.
yeah, and give them a heads up. The other thing is that they have yet to pull the plug on their system. There is no water at the Woodstock Fairgrounds. Point in case was they had that mask giveaway today. We've got a graduation, Woodstock Academy graduation exercise going on down there, I think around the 12th of June. And if anybody needs a restroom, they got to bring porta potties in because they have no water on site.
Well, then that might be pretty
I
good
don't-
then.
Yeah, I don't anticipate they will for the entire year.
Well, then any residual buildup there would still be there then in that flume.
Yes,
So we should just pop the
But-
cover, just take a look, see what they have.
right. And then, of course, when we get into, say, October or September, we look in there and any grease buildup in our wet well will, as long as they continue to be plugged, will certainly come from upstream of the fairgrounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So this is actually a kind of a nice scenario we have here for
Yeah.
figuring that problem out. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Hey, Stu, they don't
Yes.
have water to the office?
They might have water to the office, but it's
Yeah.
my understanding that they do not have, none of the restrooms have water.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can believe that, but I know they have a restroom at the office, and that has water all year round. So,
Yeah, well, they've still got, we go back, they've got a plug in the system. And to my knowledge, they have yet to pull that plug this year.
Okay, yeah, that could be, and there's no incentive for them to do that. So, okay, I'll talk to SIG and find out if they pull the plugs in the system, and then maybe we can a couple of us can go down there and witness just take the cover off Tim and Stu. Okay? Keep you
Yeah,
up to
they,
date.
Yep. Yep.
What's
okay.
that, Tim?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if well, when Stu and I are down there, we can just do that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, doke. Because there's a pretty good buildup of grease still at the high water mark in our wet well at the pumping station. So
Yeah, and Andrew knocked a bunch of that stuff down when he was cleaning the thing. You know,
yeah,
he was able to suck quite a bit of it up. So, I mean, it was still pretty greasy, but it was, you know, it was better than it was for sure.
yeah. Oh, someone's got a mad dog.
Yeah, there's a puppy in here.
Oh. Okay, see, under old business that we just added Woodstock and the inn at Woodstock Hill, our
Yep.
quarterly billing. I just would just send him in another bill to finish off this last quarter. And because he's on some type of a plan that expires the end of May, and that he can pay this sewer bill out of. So if he knows what the amount is. So I took a reading and gave him the amount used, which was quite a bit lower than his usual quarterly readings. So, okay with that?
All right. Well, what about the update on the metering system for the academy?
Oh, did I go right over that one? Excuse me.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Well, I don't have a lot of distractions here. All I have is a phone and the agenda.
Oh, okay.
That, Stu,
Woodstock,
here, that is kind of in the hands of Woodstock Academy, isn't it? They
They
got
bounced
a
it back
quote.
to us.
Well,
Well,
they bounced it back to us.
Yeah, because they know that they need our approval for whatever system they intend to put in. And I texted Glenn Cardarelli, you know, with what the proposed system was, and he never got back to me. I probably should have followed up with him, but I, you know,
Tim, what I would like to see is if we find a company that's using someone that's using that same metering system, that we could
Yep.
go out and talk to and see if it is exactly as we would be happy with.
Hey, folks, Stu here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In listening to this, it seems like the Academy is coming back and asking the Woodstock WPCA to do this, to do that, to do that. I think really the correct format should be that Woodstock Academy needs to investigate the possibilities of changing their metering. And once they come up with what they think is acceptable, bring it before us to see if, in fact, we would approve that, rather than us doing all the legwork.
Yeah,
Well, they've already essentially done that, you know, by getting Neponset out there and getting, you know, the quote on that particular meter. I mean, it's a minuscule amount of money. It was less than $1,000 plus the installation. You know, there's no reason they wouldn't go with with somebody else, I think they're definitely going to go with Neponset. So that would be the system that we're looking at. And whether or not that system is, is reliable and, produces good readings, I guess, we do need to investigate it a little bit before we give the go-ahead to the academy and say, yeah, why don't you go ahead and install it?
I don't think we can
I
do
don't
that.
disagree.
What we have to see is the engineering design of it first. And then we'd have to probably get our engineering people involved in it and to check it out, as Stu mentioned. But what I was talking about, if that's a system that they've already got a quote on, if they could supply us with a company or some area that uses that type of a metering system, and we could see if that's the exact type that we think we would be happy with. We're not the last words because we're not engineers, so we have to get our engineering people.
Well, we kind of end up being the last word, because we would take their proposal and we would have our engineers review it, and depending upon their evaluation of the system, we would either say yay or nay.
Right. But I would like to know personally, before we get that far down the road, to see what that system does, or how that system operates from our point of view, and then turn it over to our engineering.
Yeah, well, it's, I
Go
guess,
ahead, Rick.
looking at it, the installation of that pulsar system is pretty straightforward. So I think if we just went ahead and ran it by our engineers, this is the type of system they want to install. This is the manhole that they want to install it in. This is the number of feet of, cable. It's going back to this building for the monitoring. And let Ty and Bond, say whether or not that's a viable alternative for them.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's nothing to do. There's just a couple of clips that get bolted in there, and then those two devices get screwed on there, and then the cable gets run back. I mean, it's not like the system we had installed down by Peakbrook, where
There's
it was
no
pretty complicated. This is a simple system to install.
Yeah. There's no Venturi in this, right?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
It's just an open channel monitoring system made by Pulsar. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
What
I'll try to
I
get a
can
hold of Glenn
do is,
again.
all right.
Yeah, he's going to have more experience than anybody with that thing.
Okay. I
Ty
can
and
either
Bond probably
get,
less so.
and what I'll do is I'll call Ty and Bond and see if they can look at something before we even send them anything. Just talk to them. And also, what was that fella's name that we used to have working for us? He worked for Ty and Bond.
Oh,
Stu?
Justin.
Yeah, Justin Skelly, yeah.
Justin.
Yeah, Justin, yeah,
Scully.
yeah. And call his company.
just-
I've got his number.
Yep.
And just
Okay,
ask him about.
my only concern
Yep,
in this is that when somebody comes to us and they give us hey, we want to do this, we say, okay, we'll run it by our engineers. Is this what you want to do? Yes, then we get an evaluation of that item. And the cost of our engineering evaluation is passed right back on to the customer.
yep,
Yeah.
And if in fact we're going to get into the business of doing exploratory, we've got to be careful about where we spend our money, because we need to be able to get it back.
right, yep. Well, we would send the academy a bill on something like that.
Well, and I understand, Roger, and I can just see Sanford getting a bill and say, "Whoa, I didn't authorize that."
Yeah, yeah. Well, we put a lien on his property if we don't get paid for it.
Well, and I guess, yeah, again, well, just what you want, a defunct school, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, the what we have, I I can't help but thinking we've gone way beyond to assist them in coming up with investigate an alternative method of metering their discharge. I think the ball is in their court, and if they want to proceed, they need to get off top dead center and start to do their own investigation work.
Well, I think,
Well,
Tim,
no,
didn't
because
they?
we told them that we wanted to approve whatever system that they were, envisioning, getting installed down there. They picked the system based on our recommendations of sending the deposit down there, and now we need to take a look at the system that they picked and decide whether or not it's right for us.
Well,
So
because we're all there at the meeting, and when the Neponset came in, they looked at the situation and they came in with a recommendation to Woodstock Academy how Neponset thought it was best handled.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And we were simply the facilitator of getting Neponset in contact with Woodstock Academy.
Yeah, and
Right.
we spent some time with them picking the right manhole, to get the flow, so it wasn't getting all swirly, and we had a hand in taking a look and getting comfortable with the system. We knew the process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
no argument, Tim. No argument at all. But what I'm still, and I don't mean I'm like an old man, a dog with a bone. I just think that here Woodstock Academy is investigating changing their metering because they're unhappy with the present system. And Neponset is not the only game in town. And Neponset is somebody that we have used and we have we feel very comfortable with, and we had no problem recommending them to Woodstock Academy.
okay. What I'll do is I'll talk to Mr. Sanford there and see if he's going to put it out the bid, and tell him if that's a system that he's looked at and they're happy with that system, that we'll write him a letter to everything I talk about. I'll get with Cindy, but we'll write him a letter saying that he agrees to that if our engineering system approves it, he can go with it, but it's going to cost him for our engineering people. And we'll follow that up with a letter. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine. But
Okay.
there's only a couple of different ways of taking a look, and measuring the water or the sewage that's coming down through that line. And one, is a closed channel magnometer or whatever they call it, and you can't do that with that type of system. The other one is a flume with the transducer, which is fraught with problems, I think, for a situation like that. And the third one is the one that they're looking at right now, which is that open channel thing from Pulsar. Well, a couple other companies make them too, but that's about it. There's only a few different ways of doing it, and that's probably the best one of the three.
Okay. Okay. Would everyone be happy with that? Have
Yep.
I talked with Mr. Sanford on that?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just let him know, yeah, he's going to be billed for whatever, our engineering costs are.
Yep. We'll make that clear. And once I talk to him, I'll get with Cindy. We'll forward a letter to him with that understanding. Okay. Anything else on that
Yep.
subject?
No, not for
No?
me.
I'm good.
Okay, good. Let's see, pump repair, weekly flows. Some of us have seen them, some of them us hadn't. So we'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting and make sure you all get the information ahead of time. All right.
Okay.
On the quarterly readings, the last reading for the year that I take, and I have to get the information to Linda, the tax collector, ahead of time. So the last reading that I take is the 1st of April for the January, February, and March. So for this last month, that March, when everything was closed down, the schools, their readings are probably going to be very low, but I haven't been able to get into any of them. So I've been charging them a minimum of the average of what they've used up to that point, and then added on for the month of March, charged them 1/12 of an EDU. That sound fair? And it's an estimate. So we'll pick up any minuses or pluses at our first reading, at our July 1st readings.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Any
Sounds good.
questions? What's that, Stu?
I said, sounds good.
Okay, good enough. Thank you. Let's see. Did everyone get a copy of the budget or to see the budget?
In the treasurer's.
What I would suggest that we use the same budget that we had last year and keep the rate the same.
Be the simplest and the easiest.
Pardon?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
all right
that's,
with you? That all right with you, Peter? Stu, is that all right?
Fine. I saw Peter's copy that he sent out, and
Yep.
of course, where our bill to Putnam is the big savings. We're way down,
Yes. Yeah.
and but I think if we there are a couple of things that can be adjusted, but I think we're probably pretty safe with that budget. I'd like to see if in fact we've got a significant overage when we come out of this, our fiscal year, that we make sure we get a contribution to our got a rainy day fund or whatever that fund is called.
Yeah.
Stuart, Stuart, whatever we don't use, whatever money we have left in terms of this fiscal year will just automatically be added and become part of the WPCA fund. So
Great.
it's one
Great.
of
I
those
think
automatic things. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. It just
No, I'm not trying to make a big deal. I just
No.
want to
it
make
just
sure.
automatically happens. Whatever you have left over would go into the WPCA fund.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that happens because we've been going the wrong direction on that fund.
We have, but I think this year, with the costs that we're getting from Putnam, we're doing pretty well. So as you mentioned before, we're going to be putting quite a bit more into our fund for unplanned maintenance and stuff like that. So, and
Kind of
also,
like paying back what we borrowed.
we collected quite a bit of unpaid both liens on some property that was sold. The antique store on the corner of 171 and 169 paid up, and the building behind that owed quite a bit. And then there were some users fees that we got. So we collected quite a bit there too, Stu.
Yeah, I was just thinking that that when an antique store, I don't think it has a grinder pump, but we need to stay on top of when these properties turn over, and they do have grinder pumps, that we stay on top of that list so we don't end up inadvertently providing service for somebody we shouldn't.
Stuart?
Yeah, I'm kind of keeping an eye on that, and then Cindy every so often is going and checking ownership to make sure that nothing has changed on the grinder pump. So we're keeping an eye on it. I'm making people aware of it, of the new laws and that we brought in 2015 now, I think. I didn't think it was that far back, but it was quite a while.
This is Peter speaking.
So what I'd like to do is have someone make a motion that we accept the budget for 2020, 2021. Boy, that's a much. And accept the budget that Peter presented for 2021. Could someone make that motion?
Oh, actually,
Don't everybody leap up.
Stuart,
Yes,
Peter speaking.
yes.
If you look on a former question, I think that you had an answer to it is, if you look on page 99 of the treasurer's report for 5/13/2020, it says
Right.
it has a fund balance on 5/13/2020 of $246,757.55. So
Right, saw that.
So that's quite a good chunk of change in there.
Well, yes, it is. And when we finish up with our 2019, 2020 fiscal year budget, any surplus that we have will be added to that figure.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, any other questions on the budget? If someone could make that motion to accept the new budget presented by the treasurer.
I make a motion that the 2021-19 budget be similar to the previous fiscal year, and that the rates that the rate would be similar to that.
Well, we'll do the rate separately. I just wanted to get the budget to substantiate this budget, that once you get it, that we get that approved,
Okay.
then I'll make a motion that we maintain the same collection rate.
Okay. So you want me to rephrase it again or something?
Yeah, just
No, I was thinking that you pretty well, we know what you're talking about. We want to take and carry on the 2021 fiscal year budget as we operated in 2019-20.
Very good, Stuart. Very good. Put that down.
I'll put, and then
Man.
I need a second. Anyone want to second that?
Stuart,
I'm not sure.
Tim isn't on, so we can't wait for Tim to do that.
Oh, okay, well, I wasn't sure. Peter made the motion. If Peter made the motion, I'd second it.
Okay, thank you,
Very
Stu.
good.
Any other questions on it? All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Okay. And okay, then the collection rate of per EDU and the per 1,000 gallons per 1,000 gallons maintain the same level as the 2019-2020 budget rates.
Yeah, I'd move that our user fees reflect no change for our upcoming fiscal year as they were presented in the year 2019-2020 fiscal year.
Okay, could I just change that to just some figures so that when the auditors look at it, it's $10.71 per 1,000 gallons, and it's 2 times $429.80.
Yeah, just use those figures.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Anything else? Let's see. Yeah, your treasurer's report, everything was okay, Peter? Things looking good?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have correspondence down there. The only correspondence Cindy received was the letter from John Guskowski from CME. Asking questions about whether this project could connect to our sewer system. I think that whatever we give them for an answer, I think is going to be mild to, that whole thing, I think, is in the historical district. So they're going to have fun
Roger,
with
it's
that.
Cindy.
Pardon?
Roger, it's Cindy.
Yes, Cindy, go ahead.
You also received contact from Bill at New Roxbury Village saying that they have a
Yeah.
leak in their system.
Yes, that was the thing that I didn't write it down in Roxbury Village. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Bill, the maintenance man at Roxbury Village, called and said that they had a leak underground, and this was in late March or April, and that anytime they tried to dig down to it, it was just they were flooding. So, anyways, I made out an average water flow that they use for that they've used for this last quarter, because if I used the figure that they had given, that the meter said, oh, and besides that, they thought it was a meter problem, so they changed the meter, which gives me headaches besides. But so I'm using an average on Roxbury Village because of the water leak they had.
Okay, it was a leak on their feed.
Say again, Stu?
It was a leak on their water supply to the village.
Yes, to the community. It was leaking somewhere underground, and they found it, and they just couldn't do anything with it. And I don't know how long it went before they even noticed it. So, but
All right.
anyways, just to keep you up to date on what's going on from our side, anyways. So. And that's all I have, I think. I don't see it. Does anyone else have anything?
You have to you have to approve any bills.
Oh, good thing you mentioned that, Peter. Thank you.
All the bills that I put into the latest treasurer's report have to be approved have to go through a formal approval at this meeting.
Just a minute, as soon as I find my bills here. Okay, this is a list of bills that goes back to, let's see, what's the date? First of the year
Yep.
that we're approving. And I know probably Stu doesn't have the list of bills. Is there anyone else who's got them? Good. Rick's got them.
Did you send a list of bills out with the packet?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, I'll just read off the bills.
I got it.
Yep. But Stu doesn't have it. So Stu,
Yes.
I'm just going to read off the bills.
Well,
And
why don't you
we'll-
guys
we
look
can-
at it? Why don't you guys look at it unless you see some blaring errors right there? I don't see any reason why you should have to do that.
Okay, I've looked through them and Cindy's checked them all to make sure. There's a couple of pendings on here, which they pay automatic. They're a telephone to the lift station and electricity on one, I think, here that are pending, but.
Well, I know one thing. If Cindy checked them, they're right.
Yeah. The biggest bill is to Putnam, WPCA, $39,753. And on top of that, the total is $43,230.71. Could I have someone
Make a motion to approve the bills.
second? Thank you.
Second.
Rick. Thank you. Any questions on them? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you for bringing
Roger, I'm
it up.
sorry, I don't know who, I did not hear who made the motion or seconded that motion.
Peter made the motion and Rick seconded the motion.
Correct.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other business?
Good meeting, boys. Good meeting.
Hearing no other business, someone
move
make a
we
motion to
adjourn.
it.
Move we adjourn.
Hey, good. So move. We adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you all for attending.